This just in. Holman is back. Holman is back on the Truck Show Podcast. Well, believe it or not, it's me, Holman. Oh man, it's been a couple months. I apologize. Got a little sidetracked there for a while, and well, if you haven't been following me on social, you might have been wondering why there was a pause in the podcast. And no, I don't have laryngitis. We'll get the big elephant out of the way. I'm so sorry to say that on my way to Easter Jeep Safari in Moab, Utah, this past spring, I guess it would be really the week before Easter, April 12th. I can't believe I could even forget that date. My daughter and I were involved in a single vehicle rollover accident in our 392. We rolled several times and we both received critical and life-threatening injuries. Thankfully, I say, we crashed near St. George. I say that because we were taken to the St. George Intermountain Hospital and received world-class care there. Of course, we were both belted in, and after several rolls, the Jeep held together long enough to keep us alive. There were some things that the doctor said that are pretty sobering. I believe I was given a second chance. I don't think that I should have survived the accident if you were to see what happened. The doctor also said that I should have been paralyzed. So by the grace of God, I'm still here, and I'll still be doing this podcast, even with a modified voice, at least for a little while. I won't go into my daughter's injuries. That's her story to tell, but for me, part of my scalp was torn away, my right ear, orbital fractures, broken neck, compression fractures in my back, broken scapula and clavicle, which they call a floating shoulder, burns on my left arm, and a mild TBI. But other than that, I'm fine. I had a team of surgeons who pieced me back together in a way that seems nothing short of miraculous, and my neck surgeon said that they don't see people with the injuries I have walking away, and that I should have been paralyzed. So I've been one lucky dude, and by the grace of God, like I said, I'm here on the right side of the dirt, and I survived, and I can walk and use my hands. My daughter and I have a road ahead of us, but we've appreciated the industry and listeners and all of your incredible support and generosity, and please continue to pray for us. One of the first things I did after being released was went to Mass and thank God for my second chance, and my first meal was at In-N-Out for a number 2 animal style Dr. Pepper. And I'm sure you're wondering, but I have no recollection of the event. I remember my daughter and watching the sunrise and her taking a picture of it. My next memory is coming out of ICU with my mom and wife at my side. There was some initial talk of driver fatigue, but I was not tired. I know that's not accurate. I know me, I know how I drive, and I know what my fatigue level was at the time. There's other information out there that I have as well, and fatigue just doesn't track. Fortunately, it's a bad accident. Anyway, just to make one thing perfectly clear, there were some people and conjecture that was out there. In the beginning was incomplete, and I just want to let you know that I used my social on the pod shed along with my mom helping out to get the right info out there, and that's the one place to get all the right info. And the pod shed, you guys you guys were freaking amazing. The pod shed insiders were absolutely critical to my personal recovery, and I think you guys really gave my mom something to laugh at and be engaged with while she was dealing with all that. So I was definitely blessed to have my wonderful parents both with me and Marin in St. George for the entire 5 weeks we were there. But we've been home now for just over a couple weeks, and we're working our way back into good health. And we've had so many visitors, can't even name them all. But thank you to everyone who showed up in person to give us a hug, sent us gift cards, brought us food, both home and at the hospital. I can't express my gratitude enough for everything that was done to make our situation just a little bit more comfortable. So again, I appreciate all that. Gotta thank Jeep. They offered up a Grand Wagoneer to get us home in, so we could drive home. brought it to St. George, brand new, 400 miles on it. And those 400 miles came from them driving it from Los Angeles. So thank you, Jeep. I also have to thank Ford and Nissan for offering us help as well. And thank you for the show sponsors, especially AMSOIL, for supporting me through this time, and for the patience of having a break. But we'll make sure that we support them back and get everybody caught up so that we deliver the same number of shows as promised. So if you guys will stick with us and keep listening to shows, we'll be in good shape. As I ramp up podcasts slowly and kind of get back to normal-ish, please bear with me. I'm told my voice will improve, so wish me luck and keep those prayers coming. Lots of doctor's appointments, lots of physical therapy coming up, but I can sit in the shed and hopefully talk to you guys. It's probably going to be a little bit rougher than usual, maybe a little shorter, just to preserve my voice, but I've got a bunch of bank content with my normal voice. Hopefully you guys will enjoy. We'll start putting that out over the next month or so. And I just want to say again, I know I was given a second chance at life. I'm eternally grateful for those who patched me up, and for God for deciding he wasn't done with me here on this earth. My next year will be definitely trying to figure out how I can repay that debt. Again, thank you to all my TSP listeners. And as you've requested, I've got my mom and Marin on the show answering questions from you. This was done a couple weeks ago before we were discharged from the hospital, maybe 3 weeks ago. So we'll get to those things right after our sponsor reads.
The Truck Show podcast is brought to you by the following sponsors. AMSOIL launched the industry's first synthetic motor oil back in 1972, and AMSOIL continues to innovate with a wide selection of synthetics that are formulated, blended, and packaged right here in the United States. These specialized lubricants are engineered for what you drive and how you drive. AMSOIL's Shop by Vehicle tool offers package size recommendations to maximize savings and includes AMSOIL's Ultimate Oil Change Kits. AMSOIL offers the protection you demand and the performance you deserve. Get yours today at AMSOIL.com. The perfect complement to your truck is a Kershaw knife. All Kershaw knives come with a limited lifetime warranty, and repair parts are readily available through the website. Kershaw knives include lifetime sharpening, and the lineup has everything from EDC knives that can be used and abused for under $50 all the way up to high-end collectibles. Thanks to our generous partnership with Kershaw Knives, Truck Show podcast listeners can get 40% off MSRP and free shipping over $50 by using the code 2540TSP now going forward. It can be used more than once and even includes automatics. Visit kershaw.kaiusa.com today. UAM Pistons is one of the few companies that's been in business for over 100 years. Founded in 1922, UEM continues on today, owned and run by the fourth generation of the family that founded them. We especially like the company's dual-alloy line of diesel pistons, which are cast and machined in-house to maintain the highest level of quality and consistency. Dual-alloy pistons are available for most popular diesel light and medium-duty trucks, and you can find your diesel replacement pistons today at uempistons.com. When it comes to amazing vehicle-based adventure content, how-tos, and great storytelling, only one brand is doing it right in the print magazine space, and that's OVR, Outdoor Vehicle Recreation. OVR is about getting out there in our vehicles to explore and discover the world around us. Get complimentary access for a year to the digital library or a discount on your print subscription today at OVRmag.com. Use the promotional code @TruckShowPodcast. The Truck Show podcast survives off sponsorships and your reviews. Please help me to keep it free by supporting our sponsors and leaving reviews and comments on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
The Truck Show. We're gonna show you what we know. We're gonna answer what the truck, 'cause truck rhymes with the Truck Show. We have the lifted, we have the lowered, and everything in between. We'll talk about trucks that run on diesel, electricity, and on gasoline. The Truck Show, the Truck Show, the Truck Show. Oh, oh.
It's the Truck Show with your host, Holman.
That's right. God, is that horrible? Oh, man. You guys should have heard me weeks ago. Oh, well, I'm happy to be here with everybody. And I know there's some questions about how my daughter's doing, my mom's doing, and them being with us. So we did a little interview from the hospital. So without further ado, here is an interview from a few weeks back with my daughter and my mom. All right, everybody. So Holman is back here, and we're at the St. George Hospital. And again, I apologize for my voice, so I'm going to let two lovely ladies kind of run this conversation a little bit. So, who am I with?
You are with Maren Jean Holman, full name. And?
Cindy Gigi Holman. Made-up name.
Now, you guys have been asking through Podshed Insiders and on social to hear more from them, and then our accident happened. So I asked you guys to send in a bunch of questions that I would ask them, things that you guys were curious about. So I have a whole list of stuff, some of it about the accident, some of it about you guys. And I just want to start by saying we are recording this on Mother's Day. And pretty awesome to have a mom that and dad that dropped everything and came out here to St. George. We're basically staying until Maren gets discharged. I got discharged a couple weeks ago, but Maren's going to be the woo girl.
Woo!
All right, Mike Boyle, we'll start with him. He's a longtime friend. He asked me, do you feel faster with your new race car parts? So, as part of my surgery, I got some titanium bits in my neck. And it was a funny story. When I saw the post-op, we were talking about it, and he showed me the x-rays and said things are healing nicely. And he said, you've got this really nice titanium piece. I said, well, I travel a lot, and is that going to be a problem for TSA? Am I going to get pulled out every time? He says, don't worry about it. It's such a small amount. They'll see it, but it won't make anything beep. And then he rolled the x-ray picture over to my clavicle, my collarbone, which has a giant piece of metal and like 10 screws holding it together. And he goes, but you know, those guys down there, they probably use stainless, so you're probably screwed. So I thought that was pretty funny. I enjoy the banter between departments, but I can tell you I'm not any faster with my race car parts, but I'm a little bit lighter.
I also have race car parts.
Yes,
but
you do.
They are. I do not feel faster with them, but I will say I do feel faster with my brand new race car wheelchair. So that's pretty awesome.
So I told everybody in the intro kind of what my situation was, and I didn't tell them about you. I said, go to social, or it's your story to tell. So if you want to kind of tell people where you're at in your situation,
Yeah.
that's up to you.
So basically my dad got the top half of injuries and I got the bottom half. So where he broke his neck, I broke my L2, which is I think mid to lower back. It's right below where the spinal cord ends. It's called cauda equina is what I have. And then I have screws just like he does in his neck. And then I also got half of my foot sliced off. So that's pretty cool.
Well, let's call it amputated because the surgeons did it. I didn't do it with
My
knife.
toes got sliced off. And then they decided to slice some of my foot off. I have half of a right foot. So that's kind of cool.
So unfortunately, Maren received a crush injury in the accident. We don't know how because the footwell of the Jeep was perfect. So I don't know if the door closed on her or if there's debris or something. But unfortunately, that's probably the worst part about this. I'm going to heal up and she's going to have half a foot. So
That's kind of cool, though. No, it's really cool, though.
She's been dealing with a great attitude, and she's been here a month. Actually, tomorrow's a month when you guys hear this. So.
Crazy. It's felt like less than a week.
It's been insane, but her foot's healing. We're getting close to going home, and I'm proud of her. They've taught her some wheelchair stuff, but pretty much unassisted with a little bit of help with the walker. She walked 140 feet the other day.
Not very fast, though, but it'll only get better.
So what's your goal?
My goal, I want to graduate. Somehow, some way, get across the stage of graduation. I don't care if I walk, crawl, wheel, get carried. I will end up walking across that stage.
So
and shout out to the Huntington Beach High School admins for freezing my grades. So I have all A's and B's. I have all A's and 2 B's because everyone's so nice to me and they love me.
And she's 17. She's a senior. And while we were gone, her driver's license came in the mail.
LOL.
So anyway, there's a lot of funny little stuff that'll come out. I'm sure we'll talk about. But she's doing awesome. I know a lot of you have been worried about her. But
I'm great. honestly. I'm having a great time here. Everyone's like, this place has become like, I do hate being in a hospital because it's a hospital, but like the staff here is amazing.
Unbelievable.
Feels
St.
like
George is
second
amazing.
family, honestly.
Yeah, St. George Intermountain. This is supposed
Shout
to be one
out.
of the best hospitals for our kind of care, and we're so blessed to land here. But they have been absolutely incredible to our family. So anyway, no, Mike, I don't feel any faster with my new race car parts. And,
I do, though.
Marin's working her way up. So Doug Ozvosky's got a bunch of questions. First one for Mom. So Doug wants to know, what's the funniest thing I've said since we've been in Utah?
I would say the funniest thing Sean has said is one night he was sitting in a wheelchair himself, and my husband and I were talking to him, Sean's dad, and all of a sudden, we were looking at a menu because we were trying to help him order his next meal. And all of a sudden, Sean said, "There's a spider on there." And we're like, "What?" And he says, he's talking to his dad, and he says, "There's a spider on that menu. Look, just hit it down, hit it down." And he turns and he looks at me, and he says, "Don't you see that spider on the floor?" But of course, he had lots of drugs by that point. So that was probably the funniest thing that he's said since he's been here.
Can I say a funny thing? The
Yeah,
funniest thing he said since
Go
he's
ahead.
been
By
here?
the way, I saw that freaking spider. I saw it. I swear I saw it.
It probably wasn't real. Am I allowed to curse?
I'll just bleep you.
Okay.
It's more work for me.
So, the funniest thing he said to me since he got here was, I think you called me. He was fresh out of surgery. And I heard a rumor that he was asked who the president was, and he gave a funny response. And I was like, I need to hear this for myself. And so I call him, and I go, "Hey, Dad, who's the president of the United States?" And he goes, "Motherfucking Trump, baby." and then I made him repeat it so that I could record it. And then he goes, "Am I being exploited?"
Well, I mean, there is that. Okay, Doug wants to know what I was like as a kid. Oh, by the way, just so you guys know, the reason my voice sounds like this is when they intubated me, I got some vocal cord damage, but it's definitely getting better. But please bear with my crazy voice. So, Gigi, what was I like as a kid?
As a kid, Sean was curious about everything. He would, I know it's a shock to imagine this, but he would take things apart. Everything. He would take toys apart. He would take all kinds of things apart just to see how it worked. He has always been a gearhead. He loved taking his dad to the local auto shows since he was small. And they would go and they would spend the day at the auto show, and he would come back with a supply of brochures and catalogs that probably weighed more than he did. And he would sit in his room and go through every single one. But the problem was he never threw anything away. So after he had gone to, a few years of the car show, there would be all of that data just piled up in a corner, and he would never want to throw it away. So he was a collector of things. Sean was always really smart. He only got in trouble at school a couple times. Once he was defending his sister. There was some kid who pulled her ponytail. So she went and told Sean that this kid pulled her ponytail. So Sean went back to the kid and either gave him a piece of his mind, shoved him, or something like that. So then school told me what he did. So when we got home, I said, he told me what happened. He was defending Lisa, and I said, all right, that's probably okay to do. But he was always a good kid. Always a good kid.
Couple more questions. What is your favorite? I swear this is a question. What is your favorite thing about him?
I would say my favorite thing about Sean is he is a very kind person. He always is willing to help people who need help, whether it be a task that they need done, whether it's something that he needs to help them do. He was always very kind with his grandparents. One set lived very close by. The other set lived a little bit further away, but close enough where he would go visit them regularly. And they would usually have him do some kind of task around the house. Sean, I need help with this or that. But I would say that he is a very kind person, and he's always willing to help.
They want to know if I'm potty trained.
Not anymore.
Not true.
Yes, he was potty trained. It took a while, but yes, he got potty trained.
And where does your faith originate from?
My faith originates from my mom
I know
and
we're
my
getting
dad.
deep.
This is deep.
We grew up Catholic, and that was always really important to us. And my parents were always careful to make sure that we understood where everything came from. Everything comes from God. And we use our prayers, we go to church, and all those things are important to our faith. So that it had to have started with my parents, but before that, my mom's parents, my dad's parents also were very, very faithful as well.
Okay, Marin, here's some questions for you.
All right.
Are you ready for this?
Nope. No, I'm kidding.
How you doing?
How am I doing? Well, I have one hydrocodone in my system, and I just woke up from a very sweaty nap. So, I don't know. I'm feeling pretty good, but I will probably go back to sleep after this. I'm not in a lot of pain because, again, I have a hydrocodone in my system. But I don't know. I'm doing pretty well. I'm honestly not in too much pain all the time. You know, I have giant titanium screws in my back. That doesn't bother me at all, like whatsoever. The only thing is phantom pain in my foot is something that wasn't even like fathomable. Like you hear amputees kind of talk about phantom pain and what phantom pain feels like, and you're like, okay, cool. But like you as a person can't imagine that because you're not missing a body part. But like once you lose a body part, what is crazy. And I can't imagine what being like a full leg amputee is like if I'm only missing half of my right foot. But it's a very weird experience, and each day there's a new sort of sensation that comes about. Like sometimes it's sharp, sometimes it feels like electricity. It comes on really fast, goes away. Currently, it feels like my circulation's getting cut off to my toes, but it usually goes away with medication, which is good, so that I'm not always feeling all these weird feelings in my foot. But yeah, that's been the weirdest part, honestly. But yeah, I'm doing pretty good. And again, the staff here is amazing. They like to fight over who becomes my nurse or my therapist for the day. They love me, I love them. Yeah.
So he wants to know, and you answered this a little bit, are you still doing schoolwork? How are your grades? And are you going to be able to graduate?
Yeah, so I am doing a little bit of schoolwork just because I want to. It's honestly quite boring here when you're not doing therapy or something. Like, there are times where you're like, I wish I was doing something. I'm on gabapentin as well, which is just lethal to my attention span. It's hard to pay attention to a lot of things for a long period of time, so I can't do much stuff quickly. I'm trying to do a couple things here and there, but yeah, I do that because I want to, but my grades will be frozen upon my request, which is good. And then I'm set to graduate on time because
Yeah, in June.
I have good grades.
So next month.
So yeah, June 11th, a month from today. Oh my goodness.
Huge. Huge.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah, you do your Trump voice. Huge.
Huge.
All right.
Was that good?
That's fine.
Okay.
What motivates you to be as strong as you are, and what's been the hardest part so far of the last month?
Joy motivates me. Just like, I don't know. I truly don't know where this like is coming from. Honestly, I'm just so like.
Let me fill in the blanks of something you told me. We were talking one-on-one the other day, and you said, "Dad, all these people think that I should be sad, or that this is really bad, but to be honest with you, I'm happy. I'm glad we went through this, and it's going to make us stronger people." Maybe talk about that, because I found that super inspiring myself.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, "Wow, I just adore your mindset." I like not like that's a bad thing. I shouldn't have given that voice because it sounds like I'm being sarcastic, but it's just like I got into this hospital, and yeah, I was in a lot of pain for a little bit, but I was still like, I don't know why I should be sad or upset about the situation that I'm in. Like, clearly I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason, and like we may not know currently why the accident happened, but like there's a reason behind it, and it will show eventually. And I think there's truly absolutely no use in being sad and upset about it, because if I was like, "Oh, I'm just in so much pain, I just can't get up today, like I'm so sad that I'm missing my toes," I truly wouldn't be able to do all the stuff that I've been doing. Like, the mindset is something that is motivating me to get out of bed and like go do things.
Well, I feel like you already had the lowest low possible. And so I'm not going to get into gory details, but during the accident, I was passed out or incapacitated, and Maren saw me.
I was completely conscious the entire time. I did not lose consciousness until I was getting wheeled into the surgical room. So,
and she saw me and thought I was dead.
yes.
And so, as a parent, that's really hard, and the parental guilt behind that of, it's her and I, we're out of state, we're not close to home, and she saw that, and I have to live with that. But I think part of why she's so happy is she's usually a pretty sunny disposition, glass half full kind of person, but she thought her dad was dead, and then found out her dad was alive.
Yep.
And I think that on our worst days, we have each other. And, you know, we came in here together, we're leaving together. And I think there's strength that comes from, you know, her and I had this shared experience. And, yeah, it sucked. But we're both here, and I can see her every day and touch her and hug her and give her a kiss, whether she likes it or not.
Bring me Sonic.
Bring you Sonic and DoorDash money and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah.
She said, the next question is, can you put weight on your good leg?
Yes. I had a problem for a little bit when I was learning how to stand, where I'm allowed to bear weight on my amputated foot. I'm not going to get into the gory details as well, but I do have an open wound still on it. So they only want me to put weight on my heel. And that was kind of the hardest hurdle to get over, because I would put almost 100% of my weight on my left foot and then barely put any weight on my right foot. But once I started learning to walk, that ended up being easier for me to distribute weight. So yeah, I'm walking now, kind of, with a walker, with assistance, and I can...
But
You are walking.
your prognosis is that you'll be able to walk again.
Oh, yeah, I can... I'll probably be able to walk out of here.
So that's the goal. Anthony Hodges wants to know if you can get ready in time for next year's Boston Marathon.
Oh, yeah, I'm already registered. What do you mean?
And he asked me, what am I going to do different with the new Jeep, or if I decide on something different. So as far as the car goes, I'll end the show with kind of my thoughts, because I got some ideas. And then when is your mom and Maren going to be on as co-hosts? I mean, we're already
Well, right now.
And any other time we are invited.
And I told them they're invited anytime. So once we get back home, we'll have them on.
I've always wanted to host like an entire episode.
You might get that chance.
My dad told me, he said, you can host an episode as long as you can think of something to do. And I feel like a Q&A is so like baseline, respectfully, like it's just kind of like get to know someone, but I want to do like something fun.
We will.
It'll happen eventually.
It'll happen.
I liked hearing everyone and everyone's feedback from the Dr. Pepper taste test with Nick Somas. Shout out Nick.
Oh, by the way, I do need to do a shout out to Nick and
Kim.
So Nick, obviously massive Dr. Pepper fan, not as big as me because I was 8 for 8. If you listen to that episode, sorry Nick, but I will tell you, they sent me a pair of my brand new coveted Dr. Pepper slippers for me to lounge around our Airbnb in while we stay here in St. George with Mare until she's released. So there's a picture on my social at Sean P. Holman of me with a Dr. Pepper in hand and some Dr. Pepper slippers. So shout out to Nick and Kim. Thank you.
And I'd also like to shout out Kim for bringing me a Doc Pop. And because you guys know how I feel about Doc Pop.
Womp,
and
womp, womp.
He's a hater. And I'd also like to shout out Nick for bringing me a cactus, which is so far the only surviving plant.
And Pop Pop replanted it the other day.
And Pop Pop did replant it, and it looks absolutely beautiful.
All right, this one's for Chi Chi. And this is a really interesting one because I actually found it interesting. This is from Ron Williams, who is another friend of mine.
Okay.
He said, who in your family got the first call about the accident? Who made the call? And how did you get the info? Or did the police knock at your door?
Oh, wow. Okay, so that's kind of a story. So go back to Saturday, the 12th of April, and my husband and I were just waking up. Well, actually, we heard a odd sound. And he said, did you set your alarm? I said, no, I didn't set my alarm, and my alarm doesn't sound like that. So I looked at my phone, and there was, whenever Sean goes off-roading or anything like that, he has Starlink on his Jeep. And generally at the end of the day or sometime during the day, it'll say Sean's checking in, and it will give the latitude, longitude coordinates so that we know where he is and that he's checked in for the night. So this alarm went off on my phone, and because I'm one of the recipients, Sean's wife is the other recipient of these notifications, and I looked, and my heart just sunk because it said crash. And I've never, ever gotten anything that said crash.
I'll interrupt real quick. So I was wearing my Apple Ultra watch, and my mom and my wife are my emergency contacts. And my watch, which looks absolutely untouched from the accident, detected the crash and automatically notified them. And I was completely incapacitated at the time.
So, of course, we get the notification, and I tried calling Sean. There was no answer. I tried calling Marin. There was no answer. Marin's phone, I think hers was the one who kept ringing, and Sean's just kept going to voice message. So we looked at the coordinates, and we tried calling several different agencies to get information. Ultimately, what happened is I called Utah Highway Patrol, and I told them that we had gotten this notification of a crash. I told them that what the coordinates were, and the very kind person who answered the phone, she said, hold on just a moment. And all of a sudden, I was talking to a trooper, Trooper Leak, and a shout out to Trooper Leak for so many reasons. But Trooper Leak said that he was on site. There had been a crash. It was a rollover. Both Sean and Marin were injured. And the words that he used then just haunt me because he said, you guys need to get here as soon as possible because they are in very critical condition. But he also said, I have a trooper that is going to the hospital with them. He's going to get back with me, and I will get back with you. And I probably had 2 more calls from Trooper Leake, who updated me, who let me know that they were both conscious at the hospital. He told me the extent of their injuries that he could, because they didn't have all of the details. And in the meantime, Sean's wife had called and asked me, hey, did you get this crash notification? I said, yeah, I did. Told her what we were doing. So after we found out what happened and where they were headed, which was St. George Hospital, I just started making phone calls because we knew we couldn't drive. There was no way any of us could drive out here. Even if we flew into Las Vegas, we still had a 2-hour drive. So we decided to find a way to fly to St. George, which we did. And when we got here, we got a car and we came to the hospital, and that's how we found out. And I am eternally grateful for the fact that we were notified so quickly, and that the Utah Highway Patrol were so good, and I think that they contacted emergency services as well.
And you guys got here so fast that my first recollection is, I think, coming out of surgery in the ICU, and I looked up and saw you and Denise looking at me. And I have no recollection before that. So you guys got here at some point when I was at the hospital, in between or before or right after surgery. I don't know what the timeline is. But you guys got here fast.
Yeah, we got here about 6:30. The 4 of us all flew together. And, of course, I think we were all a wreck. I mean, I was... again, I have a Catholic faith, and we pray and we say the rosary, and I had that rosary with me. I was using it the whole way on both flights because we flew into Salt Lake and then from Salt Lake to St. George. And, of course, I was very upset and I was crying, so I'm sure whoever was sitting next to me thought that they probably wanted to move their seats because I knew something that, the rest of the plane didn't know. But seriously, it was...
Did you pat the plane?
Did I what?
Did you pat the plane?
I did. I did not pat the plane, but Pops.
Okay, all right.
I had too many things going on in my head. Literally, my gears were just about stripped. But we got here in time where we could spend as long as we wanted with both of them. They were in rooms that were nearby, so we were able to go back and forth and see them both. And Marin was conscious, and I mean, she was okay, and she's talking to us very rationally. Sean was a little bit more sleep induced because he had just come out of surgery when we finally saw him.
And it looked like hell, where Marin kind of looked normal.
Yeah, Marin, to look at her, she was like, "Oh, you look okay."
Marin's face is normal. I had an ear hanging from one side.
And black eyes.
We started hearing about the things that had happened to Sean, and we saw the pictures of the Jeep, and our first thought was, how did they survive this?
The Jeep held together, did its job.
It did.
Especially considering we endoed at least once and might have rolled twice. But for all of you who thought I was ugly, I'm still ugly. I couldn't afford the Adonis package. So
he still looks the same.
The plastic surgeon got me as close to normal. I said I'm probably good. I'll probably end up 85%. But he usually does boob jobs and tummy tucks. I was just happy not to have a boob in place of my ear. He actually put my ear back. So that was a win.
The plastic surgeon who was on board that day for traumas, we found out later that this is, if you have something happen to you, this is the guy you want to be doing the kind of work he did on Sean, because he did a masterful job. And I mean, you look at what Sean looked like and all of his injuries, and just as for instance, when he went in for his post-discharge with the PA of that plastic surgeon, she was saying that she had looked at his chart and she wasn't sure how Sean was going to come in based on the injury she saw. And she also said that so much of his ear had been torn off, she was surprised that it was sewn back on. So, of course, you hear things like this and you're starting to get the gist of, oh my God, what happened to these two people? But here they are.
I felt like I looked like the bad guy in the Goonies.
the
Yeah.
Goonies monster.
My head was misshapen and
And
black and
purple,
blue.
green.
Yeah, it was bad. I mean, after about 2 weeks, the swelling started going down, and my ear started like going to its normal position. But Dr. Galampier, a huge shout out. I would just say the thing I told him, and I mean it. I'll say it again here, because he was able to restore me back to feeling how I should look, or what I imagine I look like, or some semblance of it. I haven't been worried about me. My self-esteem hasn't been down because I've been worried about how bad I look. I've been able to focus on Marin and not worry about my stuff as much. So
All of the doctors have been magnificent.
I can't imagine if I look totally different. That would be really tough.
Shout out Dr. Manwaring, who did helicopter. Sorry. Who
Lifeline.
did my back and his neck, and then Dr. O'Brien, who did my foot. Incredible.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Dr. Hatch.
And Dr.
who's been in
Hatch.
And Dr.
charge of
Hatch.
rehab.
Yeah.
And has to deal with
You.
it has to do with me.
They've been awesome. Okay, here's some more questions, but these are more quick hitting.
Okay.
From Jason Broom, which I know my mom loves Jason Broom.
I do.
Longtime listeners, become a friend. He's the one who bought the Dr. Pepper fridge for
Oh,
the
it's you.
Podshed. Okay, for Cindy. And he gave my mom a bunch of stupid assignments. So you can say pass when I read you the ridiculous
Pass.
questions. What is the best portable fridge freezer on the market?
Pass.
How many expo points is a fridge with an ice maker worth?
Pass.
Where is the best placement for a fridge freezer in a truck?
Pass.
What is your dream truck, and why is it an AEV Prospector XL tray bed?
Pass.
That might be my dream truck. How many fridge freezers are too many for one vehicle?
1.
What is the worst but also funniest thing in retrospect that you ever grounded Sean for doing?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Marin's enjoying this too much.
Yeah, she is. That I grounded him for. He didn't have to be grounded too many times. Usually he would just get a stern, don't ever do that again.
Yeah, I knew when I was in trouble. To this day, she'll
Yes.
shoot me the stare. And
I think it was the time he got caught on the roof of the school. And he
lied to a nun.
lied to an nun.
Shout out Sister Maria.
Who?
So he and his good friend Kevin decided that a fun thing to do might be to go on the roof. Thank goodness it was a one-story, but go on the roof of the school. So those two idiots were up on the roof running around like no one was going to hear them. And
Well, it was a Sunday.
one of the sisters happened to be in her classroom.
Who ended up being our 8th grade teacher.
And she came out and she said, she's Irish, and I love her. I just love her so much. And she, as a matter of fact, Marin had her as a teacher as well. And she said, "Oh, Sean Holman and Kevin Melanson, what are you doing on that roof?" And they were just up there running around. They saw a ball, and they said,
A boy.
"Oh, sister."
Hold on. It was a pink ball that had been up there so long. It was sun-bleached white on one side and half flat. And there's no way it was a ball we were playing with.
No way. And they said, "Oh, sister, we were just up here getting our ball." And I know she didn't believe them. She says, "Oh, okay, well, the two of you come down right now." And, Sean tells me this, and I just go, "Don't you ever do that again." He didn't. He went on to do other things. But
Well, it's funny because she's still my buddy to this day and disavows all knowledge of that event.
I think that's the only really bad thing that he got in trouble for. Because, hard to believe, but he was actually a really good kid. or he was very afraid of us. So
Yeah.
probably the latter.
Either way, both. All right, Marin, you can say
Present.
pass. What is your dream truck?
Pass.
How would you... Now he's talking about the slate truck. We haven't talked about that yet.
Oh, I know what that
you
is.
do?
Sadly,
What do you think of the slate truck?
Oh my
Did your
God,
dad
it's-
reserve one for you?
it's hideous.
How would you build one for yourself?
I wouldn't. Why would I do that?
If you could wrap your truck in Dr. Pepper livery, would you?
Well, I don't have a truck, so no.
Your Honda CR-V is already the
Yeah, my
color
Honda
of-
CR-V is the exact color of a Dr. Pepper can. Well, it was Gigi's first, so shout out Gigi, who's right next to me. If you didn't know, Cindy Holman is Gigi.
How many cans of Dr. Pepper fit in the pod shed? Dr. Pepper mini fridge, and does it need a restock?
Well, considering the amount of Dr. Pepper that we have received since we've been here, we practically have a lifetime supply of Dr. Pepper.
And I think it was something like 6 cases that we put in there after the taste test.
Oh, yeah.
So it's stocked right now.
And there's still, like, run over in our garage fridge, too.
Okay, so this is very relevant to now,
Okay.
and I may or may not use this in the future.
Okay.
What is your dream guitar?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so, well, there's two. Number one all-time dream guitar ever, Rickenbacker 360 12-string. Preferably the red, was it Fireglow? The red Sunburst. Ugh, I just love the Rickenbacker. Favorite documentary, Echo in the Canyon, second to The Last Waltz, talks about the history of Laurel Canyon and the music that comes from Laurel Canyon and how the Rickenbacker guitar shaped folk rock as a genre, and I have always wanted to own one. I've always wanted to play one. I played one once, and Mr. Simmons, who runs my music program at school, I said, I really want to play this, and he says, no, you don't. And I played it, and it was like the most incredible. He was probably like, why are you having fun right now? And he's like, yeah, now you know how much a pain in the ass those things are. And I was like, and I walked out, and I was like, I got to play Rickenbacker. I
Right.
always wanted to own one.
What's the second?
Second one is an Epiphone 335 in red. Pop has one, and I was
Which
able
you've
to.
tried to weasel
Yeah.
away from him. He is literally
That is-
giving you every instrument he has except that one.
He has loaned me his instruments.
But has he loaned you the Epi for any length of time?
No, because I've never asked for it, because that is his baby. That is Dot, the Epiphone 335. That is his child. And I will never dare ask to borrow that from him, because he loves that thing. And I did get to play it once at a gig, and I thought it was really awesome. So if I may never get my hands on a Rickenbacker 360 12-string, then maybe I'll be able to get my hands on an Epiphone 335.
Venmo at Sean P. Holman for Marin's guitar.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
GoFundMe? No.
Who's
Just
your
kidding.
favorite guitarist?
Oh, brother. Probably Robbie Robertson of the band. I mean, this question changes, like, the answer changes all the time, but I love the band. Dwayne Allman, too, and Dickie Betts of the Allman Brothers as well.
And your grandpa,
Well, duh. That was kind of a given.
because he taught you.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Robbie Robertson. I'm
right.
biased.
Before we go,
What? That's it?
that's it for now.
Oh.
That's it for now. But before we go, is there anything the two of you just want to say? I just want to say thank you to you both, because accident aside, which is why we're all sitting in this room right now, the amount of support that I've gotten from both of you, and of course my wife Denise, for the shed, the podcast, to be able to do it on my own after Lightning left. But as a family, you guys have supported me, have allowed me to pursue my dreams. I felt very lucky for that, although those might be changing as I review my second chance at life here. But I just wanted to ask if there's anything you guys, because you've gotten to know the podcast listenership, give you a chance to say what's on your mind.
for a while, I had no, like, I just knew that you did a podcast, but I didn't realize that there was a literal gigantic community, and I didn't realize how, like, tight-knit and close this community was, and I think that is so cool. But I'd also like to thank the listeners for showing support. Sorry, if you hear any noise, my hospital bed likes to move around. I'd like to thank all the listeners for just supporting us, sending messages, even if, you know, I haven't met probably 99.9% of you guys, but like the amount of people that have shown support for, you know, my dad, but also me specifically, these people I've never met before, acting like these, like, it's just crazy to see the amount of support that
They become a family to us.
Yeah,
Which is...
that's crazy.
Yeah.
And also, thank you all for sharing, donating, GoFundMe, because that is going towards our medical bills. And, you know, being in the hospital for a month on 24-hour care is freaking expensive. Who would have thought?
Well, and also, you know, the Airbnb that's out here, rental cars back and forth, flights. So the nice thing is because of your generosity, we'll be able to cover all those things out of pocket, and we're good. Like, we don't have to worry once our insurance maximums are reached. So thank you all for that.
Yes.
Because we I don't know where we would be without your generosity. So thank you.
And then I don't think my friends are listening. They might be if I promote this. But I'd also like to thank everyone who's reached out, but specifically my good friends from MMET, my music program, the Free Collective Band, for throwing a benefit show and raised almost $2,000 additional dollars for us, which is just insane. So if you are the few people that are a part of Free Collective, people that helped, people that showed up, and, you know, people that donated, thank you as well. Thank you is all I have to say. Gigi?
I would echo what both Sean and Maren just said, but also I want to thank everybody who, in the Pod Shed Insiders group, the people who have contacted me, who have thanked me for my updates. I was telling someone the other day that the reason I started updating, sending an update every day on how Sean and Maren were doing, was because I know that in absence of information, people are going to think the worst is happening. So I wanted them to have a reliable person to let them know how they were doing day to day, because I would say for the first few days, we were living hour to hour. On the worst day of our lives, I had so many people who reached out, and making those updates every day helped me process what had happened during the day. And I would read the comments you would make, and they helped me. And I would tell Sean and I would tell Maren, these are the comments that we're getting. And I was so overwhelmed in the best way by what you were sending to me, and I so appreciated it. And you know, I'm sure there's going to come a time soon that I'm not updating, and that will be a very happy day for me. But honestly, you guys all helped us process what was going on, and you are all like family to us, because your prayers, your thoughts, everything that you did,
Making us laugh.
There were people who were making the funniest comments, and people who were just, hey, we've never met Sean, we've never met Maren, but we feel like they're family, and we're here cheering them on, and we hope they get better. And it was so wonderful seeing so many people care about them like we care about them. So I would say to the auto community, to the off-road community, and to the Podshed insiders and all the listeners, thank you so much, because you will never know how much it meant to us that you were reaching out just with your good thoughts about Sean and Marin. So I guess that's all I would say, in addition to what they said about everything else that you've done. It's been overwhelming in the best of ways, and we can't thank you enough.
All right, well, I gotta rest my voice.
I have to pee.
And Marin has to go to the bathroom. And we got recovery to do, so ladies, thank you for joining me.
Of course.
It won't be the last time. I'm sure everybody will want to hear more from you, but
Our pleasure.
But from Marin's hospital room here in lovely St. George,
145.
Utah.
149.
All right. Well, we'll end this interview.
Also, I would just like to say, if you want to hear me host an episode, or if you want to hear Gigi host an episode, please give us ideas. Please.
I'm going to unplug your mic.
All right.
And, thanks for coming back and listening. And we will end the show. So thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. That's going to do it for this episode of the Truck Show Podcast.
The Truck Show, the Truck Show, the Truck Show.
Don't forget to follow us on @Truck Show Podcast on social. And please, I'm back. Leave me some messages on the 5-star hotline, 657-205-6105. And join the Facebook group, the Podshed Insiders. 500 of you guys kept me going in Utah while I was there. And appreciate all of you guys. Don't forget to send in any events that I can put on our calendar. Know your notes. Send me feedback. Email me. truckshowpodcast@gmail.com. And of course, I have the worst voice in the world. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to try not to sound like I'm going through puberty at the same time I was gargling gravel. Gotta thank AMSOIL. If you love your vehicle, the best in synthetics, oil change kits, everything, AMSOIL.com. They've been an amazing partner, dare I say, part of the family. They stood by me and allowed me to get the time off necessary to recover so I could do the podcast. Also have to thank our friends over at Kershaw Knives, kershaw.kaiusa.com. 2540 TSP is your discount code. And uempistons.com. Go check out UEM Pistons for some of the best aftermarket pistons, including their dual-oil diesel pistons. If you're looking for the best adventure magazine on the market, head on over to ovrmag.com and you can use the discount code @TruckShowPodcast for free digital access for 1 year or a 10% discount on an annual print subscription. And if you're looking for other discount codes, head over to truckshowpodcast.com and click on the featured products section. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of the Truck Show Podcast. Appreciate you sticking with me and glad to be back. We'll do more of this and we'll do it soon.
Yeah, buddy.